Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So we have been doing some garden work this morning, me and my son. Just like you just saw in that little intro of some of the things we're growing, mostly just from food scraps. Um, and it's been really fun. It's been fun to be gardening again. I haven't been able to garden in a long time actually, but it's just one of my passions. And I was thinking about gardening and the joy that I get from it, and it really actually made me think of minimalism. And so I was connecting the two together, and and it made me think of why I actually practice minimalism. And so I kind of wanted to share a little background of me and how I got into minimalism and why I even practice minimalism. And I am going to connect the dots between gardening and minimalism. So just bear with me. But I want to start with my story and how I got started with minimalism, and I'll keep it brief. But minimalism really truly did begin for me with the physical stuff, um, and having a lack of space for all of the stuff that I had. So, about 5 years ago, right before my son was born, we were living in what's called a little casita, which is just a house that's very small. It was 800 square feet. And honestly, we just had too much stuff. And my son was born, and as you know, like kids just bring more stuff into the house. A lot of toys and stuff entered our house, and I felt like the space was too small for all the stuff we had. But the reality eventually became that we just had too much stuff in the first place. Um, and I was constantly like rearranging furniture and toys and trying to make it all work and fit in this little space that we had. And I ultimately got to a place where I was just done doing that work, especially having a new baby. I was like exhausted and stressed, and having to declutter all the time just felt like it was too much for my postpartum brain and body to handle. And so I finally decluttered. I don't know if I actually heard about minimalism, but I was just like, we need to get rid of stuff. And it was mostly my stuff anyway. And I started with toys and plants and books and clothes and all of it, just getting rid of it. And it felt so good. I remember doing a yard sale with my friends, and I made like a couple $100 off of that. And I was like, wow, this is like really good to be getting rid of this stuff and just getting it out of my space. And so that kind of leads me to like the next part of my story is once I felt how good getting rid of stuff was, like decluttering really was, um, that's when I think I heard about minimalism and really kind of started down the path of becoming a minimalist and practicing minimalism like on a daily. And so, like every minimalist, it's a journey, and you learn a lot along the way. And you learn step by step, and you go deeper and deeper as you practice it. And so we actually ultimately did move into a bigger space, and I really thought that I was trying to keep that bigger space minimal still, and I would say we did a fairly good job on it, but bigger spaces just kind of collect more things, and I was still learning how to be minimalist, and I was working at the time, so I wasn't like fully focused on it. And basically the space filled up, and it filled up somewhat quickly. We only lived there for a year, and so it wasn't until we moved last year and got rid of literally everything. We moved across country. I will link both of those videos. I'll link the video on the decluttering and how to get rid of everything if you're in that phase of your life right now. And I can link the video too of like the lessons that I learned along the way when we moved across country. But when I got rid of everything last year, it taught me a lot. And it taught me a lot to go deeper into minimalism. And that minimalism is just like, the stuff is just the beginning of practicing minimalism and becoming a minimalist. And I'm not going to go into that in this video. Like I said, I'll link that if you're interested in learning or hearing about that. You can watch that video. But there's a lot of good stuff in that video because it helped me to go deeper, even in my spirituality, with getting rid of all of the stuff. And then I was determined when we moved here, like even more determined on a new level, to keep it simple and minimal. And yes, we have acquired stuff to be able to live because we moved across country with our 2 cars and whatever fit in there. And that was basically just like the bare minimum basics. So we had no furniture, no beds, so we had to acquire stuff in that way to actually live in a house. And yes, I do have a whole home decluttering video up and coming. So, keep your eye out for that. And I have grace with myself to recognize that it's always a journey. Decluttering, being minimal, it's always a journey. I'm not going to be like hard on myself that I'm creating a whole house decluttering video, because when you're learning, you go through different phases in life of like what you need, what you don't need, what you use, what you don't use, what you like, what you don't like. And that's what is going to be up and coming with that decluttering video. But overall, I would say in this home, we've done a pretty good job of keeping the home under control with the amount of stuff that comes into the space. And this house is a little bit smaller than the house that we were in before, but a little bit bigger than the previous house before the house we were last in. So it's like a perfect middle ground in that way, which has allowed me to that much more realize what it is that we actually need or use. And in some way, minimalism is always going to be that surface level of stuff, because that's kind of like what you're doing is monitoring your stuff. But as I've practiced minimalism now for, I guess, about 5 years, I think I've realized even more what its true purpose is for me. And that's what this video is all about, and that's what I'm going to tell you is the true purpose for minimalism in my life is to be able to truly live a slow, intentional, passionate lifestyle on a daily basis. I want to experience my life every day of my life. And that's like exactly the whole purpose of this channel, the simple daily living, is to actually live a lifestyle that's simple enough that we can experience life on a daily level. So for me, like things that I'm passionate about that truly create a slow and intentional and passionate life for me are like gardening. That's why I showed you what I showed you. In traditional home cooking, I do homeschooling for my son, playing with my son, resting, actually laying down and taking naps, which was something that minimalism taught me. Reading, I read a lot of books nowadays. Taking long walks, like long, slow, unhurried walks. Going to bed early. These are all things that I truly love, and they are a rich life for me. And I know more about myself now and my passions because of minimalism. And what I mean by that is that my mind and my body are free enough to explore and dream and try things because my home is free of clutter and stuff. And so I can know more about myself. I can explore my passions and I can try new things because of minimalism. And that's why I do minimalism now. That's on a deeper level. It's not just about the stuff. There's a lot of spirituality there too. And there's a life in it that you can't find in stuff. You can only find by being free from it. And you'll find freedom through minimalism. And that's exactly what's happened in my own life and where the journey of minimalism has led me. And so the stuff that I do have, because I don't own nothing, but I do have things in my life that are intentional, they're purposeful, they're multifunctional, and they serve me and my goals and my passions and my lifestyle, not the other way around. I'm not serving them. I'm not constantly maintaining them, organizing them, moving them around, figuring out what to do with them. They serve me and they serve my goals and my passions and the slow, intentional life that I am trying to cultivate on a daily basis. And that's why I do minimalism, and that's where the journey of minimalism has led me. Thanks for joining me today on this video, and I hope that you can get something from it. I hope that if you're new to minimalism, I would really love to hear what it is that you want to try with minimalism. And if you are practicing minimalism already, I would love to know what minimalism does for you. Leave your comments below so that I can hear about your all's journeys too with minimalism. And we will catch you in the next video. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to show you some of my herbs too. We were working on this today too. This is why I do minimalism.